Section 224. Mercy, peace, and all that is good, Jehovah's face, are what give rise to the inner call in the case of those who have perception, and those who have conscience too, but in a different way. These qualities always operate. These qualities always operate in a compassionate manner.
Compassionate.
Compassionate. Compassionate.
Compassionate.
Compassionate. Mm. Compassionate. These qualities also always operate in a compassionate manner, but the way we receive them depends on our state. The state of the human in this chapter, or of this generation of the earliest church, was one of earthly good. Those who live in earthly good are such that they hide themselves in fear and shame over their nakedness. Those who lack earthly good, however, do not even hide because they are shameless. They are spoken of in Jeremiah. The middle of the tree of the garden symbolizes earthly good that brings with it a certain amount of perception. The latter being called the tree here. This symbolism can also be seen from the meaning of the garden that the heavenly person inhabited, because anything that is good or true is called a garden. The connotations vary depending on the person who cultivates it. Good is not good unless it has at its core something heavenly that supplies perception or that allows the Lord to supply it. This core is called the middle, and the word uses the term the same way. Genesis 3 9 10. And Jehovah God called to the human and said to him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself." The meaning of calling and the voice in the garden and the reason they were afraid at being naked and hid themselves has already been explained. It is a common occurrence in the world for people first to be asked where they are or what is happening, although the Lord already knows everything. The purpose of the inquiry is to give the person an opportunity for acknowledgement and confession. Inquiry, like question, investigation. Inquiry, investigation. The source of perception in inner dictates and conscience needs to be understood. Because no one these days knows anything about it, let me say a little. It is entirely true that the Lord governs us through spirits and angels. When evil spirits start to take control, angels put their effort into deflecting evils and falsities. Deflecting.
Deflecting.
Deflecting is like distract, reflect, mhm, displace, into deflecting evils and falsities and the conflict results. This conflict is what we sense by means of perception and inner dictate or conscience. From these three sensations and from the trials we are going through, we would see clearly that spirits and angels are present with us if our focus were not thoroughly physical. Such a focus prevents us from believing anything we hear about spirit and angels. Body-centered people could experience those conflicts 100 times over and still claim that an overactive overactive imagination, overactive,
Overactive.
like hyperactive, overactive,
Hyperactive.
hyperactive, hyperactive. Overactive is hyperactive. Overactive imagination or some kind of mental illness lay at the root of them. I myself have had the opportunity to experience conflict and its vivid sensation thousands upon thousands of times, almost continually now vivid.
Vivid.
Mhm. It's like bright, bright, vivid. At times almost continually now for several years. I have been able to learn what spirits were involved, what they were like, just where they were, at what moment they approached, and what time they left, and I have been allowed to speak to them. It is impossible to describe now keenly angels perceive keenly, keenly,
Keenly.
keenly, like strongly, vividly too. How keenly angels perceive whether or not the thousands that enter our minds violate religious truth or a loving goodness. Angels are 1,000 times more sens- sensitive, sensitive, maybe,
Sensitive.
sensitive, more sensitive to the nature of our thoughts and the teeming of their introduction, teeming,
Timing.
timing. It's about time, timing, time, time, synchronization, timing, sense of time, definition of time, temporary. And the timing of their introduction than we are, since we know almost nothing about it. The smallest piece of our thoughts is more apparent to the angels than the largest is to us, which is unbelievable, but absolutely true. Who wants to read next uh, next verse? Genesis 3, 11, 12, 13.
Okay. I read
Mhm. Yeah, go ahead.
Genesis 3, 11, 12, 13. And he said, Who pointed who pointed
How
out
to?
to you that you were naked. You are ate from the tree from which I commanded you not to eat, didn't you? And the human said, The human whom you gave to be with me, she gave me from the tree, and I ate. And Jehovah God said to the woman, Why have you done this? And the woman said, "The snake deceived me, and I ate." The symbolism in all of this is established by previous explanations. Our rational capacity allows itself to be deceived by our sense of autonomy, which we love tenderly, or in other words, by self love, so that we give no credit to anything we cannot see or feel. Anyone can see that Jehovah God did not talk to a snake, and that in fact there was no snake, nor did he talk to the sensory part of the mind, symbolized by the snake. Rather, other things are involved. Specifically, people perceived that they had been deceived by their senses, and because they loved themselves, they were eager to know whether the things they heard about the Lord and about faith in Him were true. Only then would they be willing to believe. The reigning evil of this generation was self love. Love of the material world did not form as large as part of the reigning evil as it does now. This was because people
Lived.
lived among their households and clans and did not strive after riches. A single evil afflicted not only the earliest church before the flood, but also the ancient church after the flood, and the Jewish church, and then the new church, or the church among non-Jews that came after the Lord's arrival into the world. Just it just as it afflicts the modern church, it is the evil of not believing the Lord or the word, but trusting oneself and one's senses. The result is an absence of faith, and when faith is absent, so is love for others, a situation that leads to all falsity and evil. Conditions are much worse today than they once were. People can now employ knowledge unavailable to our ancestors in justifying the skepticism bred by their senses. In doing so, they produce so great a darkness that it could never be described. If people knew how great a darkness results, they would be astounded. Is it right? Astounded.
Astounded, yeah. I forgot this word.
Astounded.
Astounded, like amazed, shocked.
I mean, shock.
hmm Astounded.
Astounded.
Astounded. Astounded.
Astounded.
Astounded. hmm And
Examining
what is bread?
religious
Bread.
bread.
Red.
It's like grown, brought up, born.
Brought up,
Skepticism bred, like born. Skepticism born by the senses.
nurtured.
hmm
Okay. Examining religious mysteries by the use of factual knowledge is as impossible as it would be for a camel to go through the eye of the needle. Mar, oh yeah, much.
hmm
It is as impossible as it would be for a reed to regulate the purest filament of the chest and of the heart within it. So coarse and much coarser is the dimension of the senses and of technical knowledge in relation to spiritual and heavenly qualities. Those who limit their investigations to the secret of nature have difficulty enough laying bare even a single one among that uncountable quantity. This think how much great
hmm Course.
Coarse.
Coarse. It's like
Course.
rough, rigid. Looks like large. hmm Coarse, coarse. Think how much greater.
Greater their failure would be if they tried to find out the secrets of spiritual and heavenly life, of which they are uh, myriads,
Myri-
myriad,
Myriads, maybe it's
myriad,
like a lot. hmm
myriad,
Myriads.
Myriads,
myriad,
like
no,
multitude, countless,
myriad.
quantity. Mm, like this, myriads.
There are myriads for each and every hidden facet of nature. And this is to say nothing of the fact that their researches plunge them into error, as everyone knows. Let just this one example serve for illustration. On our own, we cannot help doing evil and turning away from the Lord.
Mm. Your mic became quiet. It's like
Okay,
ah, yeah. Thank you. It's better. Hidden facet,
faucet,
facet,
faucet,
Facet.
faucet.
facet. It's like
There's
aspect, side, facet, hidden facet of nature.
Yet it is not we who act this way, but the evil spirits present with us. And it is not the evil spirits, but the wickedness itself adopted by them as their own. In spite of this, we do evil and turn away from the Lord, and we are to blame. Still, we cannot live except from the Lord. On the other hand, we have no ability at all to do good or turn toward the Lord on our own. It is the angels who give us the power, yet the angels themselves cannot do so. Only the Lord can. Still we can do good and turn towards the Lord as if we were acting under our own power. This reality could never be grasped by our senses, by the academic disciplines, or by philosophy. Consult this and they absolutely refute it, even though it is all true in and of itself. The same holds for all other heavenly secrets. From these, we can conclude that people who make sensory evidence and factual knowledge and standard for belief tumble headlong not simply into doubt but even into denial. In other words, into darkness, and since they trust themselves into darkness, they also subject themselves to every kind of craving. When we believe in something false, we also act on falsity, and we even and when we believe anything spiritual or heavenly to be impossible.
Believe tumble,
Tumble.
tumble. It's like fall, collapse, hmm crumble,
Crumble.
hmm tumble and crumble, and yeah, it's like fall.
We believe that the only what belongs to the flesh and the world exists. So we love whatever promotes our self-interest or worldly advan world wait worldly worldly
Word,
worldly
word,
advantage.
mhm.
Okay, and our false premise leads to the evil cravings and outright wickedness. And Jehovah God said to the snake, because you have done this, a curse on you above every beast and above every wild animal on the field. You will travel on your belly and eat dirt all the days of your life. And I will put hostility between you and the woman and between your seed and her seed. He will trample you on the head and you will wound him on the heel. And to the woman he said, I will vastly multiply your pain in conception. In pain you will bear children, and your obedience will be your husband, and he will rule over you.
Obedience, like obey.
Follow, obey, yeah.
Hmm.
Obedience.
Obey, subordination, humility, obedience. For example, children must have obedience to their parents, we can say, and he will rule over you. Mhm.
Oh, and to the human he said, because you listened to the voice of your wife and ate from the tree concerning which I commanded you, saying, you will not eat from it, accursed on the ground because of you. In great pain you will eat from it all the days of your life, and it will
Hmm?
produce thorn and wait, I don't know how to pronounce
Hmm?
this one. Thistle?
Yeah?
Thistle for you? Is it
Which
right?
Sorry, what are you talking? Because your words are not understandable. It's not clear because of your microphone. Maybe someone is talking behind you.
Is it
What's the
thistle?
word?
क्या कौन सा मैसेज
Maybe people are talking with themselves. Yeah.
क्या मैसेज
Yeah. What's the word? Are you asking?
Is it
Mind?
thistle? This, this is
Thistle.
distal or this thistle?
Thistle.
Thistle,
Thistle. Thi-
thistle,
Thistle is like a grass. Yeah, I want to see the picture
this,
to know what does it mean. Thorn and thistle. Yeah, it's thistle like this.
thistle.
Yeah,
Is it right?
yeah.
Thistle?
Did you? Yeah, it's thistle. It's. Did you see this plant like this?
Yeah,
I
I'm
saw.
seeing it.
hmm I saw this.
Picture.
But actually, it's like yeah, it's better. Do you see in this? It's like it can clean to you. Yeah, it's like bad thing, bad grass,
Mhm.
thistle for you.
And you will eat the grass of the field. You will eat bread in the sweat of your face, un, until you return to the ground, because from it you were taken. For you are dirt, and to dirt you will return. Shall I
hmm
continue? Or
Uh, let's see. Is it like maybe? Yeah. You can read because it's like summary.
okay.
Go on.
Summary. This passage portrays the subsequent state of religion up to the time of the flood, because the church completely destroyed itself at that time. These verses also predict that the Lord would come into the world and save the human race. People no longer wanted to believe anything they could not grasp through their senses, and that is why their sensory capacity, which is the snake, brought a curse on itself and became hellish. Therefore, to prevent humanity from plunging into hell with the whole of its being, the Lord promised he would come into the world. The woman provides a further picture of the church, whose people loved themselves, of their autonomy, so much that they were no longer able to comprehend anything true. This was so even though they had been given the ability to reason, the mental capacity that was to rule in them. The nature of this rational capacity is described too. It is said to have consented, and in this way to have brought a curse on itself as well and become hellish, so that no rationality remained but only a skewed logic. The curse and ruination and depi- sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this. Depicted,
Depicted. Depicted.
depicted.
It's about picture. Picture. Depicted.
Like it showed. Depicted means showed. To show.
Depicted.
Represent.
Okay,
Yeah.
depict
Thank you. Depicted.
as is the animalistic nature of these people.
Mm-hmm. Skewed logic. Skewed.
Skewed.
It's like
Like
Distorted.
yeah.
distorted.
Skewed.
Skewed. Distort. Next.
Their aversion of everything having to do with faith and love is described next, and how this changed them from being human to being non human.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Maybe who wants to read next
I'll read next.
section? Yeah. Go ahead.
The earliest people who were heavenly did actually see everything they looked at on earth and in the world around them, but their thoughts were devoted to the heavenly or divine attribute and symbolized or represented. Vision was just a means, so their manner of speaking reflected the same trait. We can all see what that trait was like from our own experience. When we pay close attention to the meaning of a speaker's words, we hear the words, but it is as if we do not. We seem to catch only the meaning. One who thinks more profoundly does not even notice the meaning of the words, but something more universal within. Ensuing generations of the earliest church, he
Ensuing. What is it?
ensuing
Ensuing.
to like imply, oh, follow,
Arise and following. Yeah.
horizon,
Come. Upcoming.
follow. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Thank you.
good job.
Ensuing.
Wow.
Of the earliest church, however.
Whose turn is it now? Is it still me?
Yeah, it's if you can read, you
Okay. I'll
can.
do
Mhm.
I'll do one more. I'll do one more. Uh However, the ones discussed in the present verses were not like their forebears. They loved the worldly and earthly realm. So when they looked at it, their minds clung to it. Their thoughts about this realm were the starting point for their thoughts about the things of heaven and of God. In this way, the sensory experience came to be the primary force, not the not what? The mere tool it was for their predecessors. And when the worldly and earthly,
Predecessors like forefathers like
like
this.
your ancestors,
Okay.
right? Ancestors? Like your
Uh,
people before you?
yeah.
Forerunner, ancestor. Yeah,
Ancestors.
ancestor.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Predecessors.
Predecessors.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. And
Uh,
when the worldly and earthly
Oh, is it?
Go on.
Someone else go.
Actually, you can read into Genesis 3:14. It's your turn. If you can go on,
Me?
because
You want me to continue?
yeah,
Okay.
you can read this and Genesis 3:14, because it's like next.
Sure.
Wordly and
Uh,
literally. Mhm.
realm becomes the primary force. People base their reasoning about heavenly matters on it and blind themselves. Our own experience can again show us what this method was like when we fail to pay attention to this meaning of a speaker's words, but concentrate on the words themselves. We gather little of the meaning and still less of any universal significance within the meaning. Sometimes from a single word, or even from a single point of grammar, we leap to judgment about the whole of a speaker's message. And then you want me to keep going?
Yeah, because we read like verse by verse, and this verse is yours. This verse is
Okay.
yours. Genesis
Okay.
3:14.
Genesis 2:14. And Jehovah God said to the snake, because you have done this, a curse on you above every beast and above every wild animal of the field. You will travel on your belly and eat dirt all the days of your life. Jehovah God said to the snake means that they perceived their resilience on the senses to be at fault. The curse on the snake above every beast and above every wild animal of the field symbolizes the fact that the sensory level of their mind turned away from what was heavenly toward what was bodily, bringing a curse on itself. Here, as before, the beast and the wild animal of the field symbolize feelings. The serpent's traveling on its belly means that the sensory level could no longer look
The reliance. What is
reliance.
Reliance.
To depend on?
reliance?
Depend?
Dependence. Yeah, in the sense.
Depend. Oh, okay.
Like trust. Yeah, the reliance.
Oh,
Dependence.
okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
And then you want me to just read to 243?
If you're tired, yeah, you can read before 243, and maybe
Yeah, I'll
because
read up to that. And
if you're
someone
not
else.
tired, you can continue.
Uh,
If someone wants to say, I mean, if someone wants to read, he or she can read in his
Okay,
turn.
I want to read it. Can I?
yeah, you can go if you want
Okay.
to.
Maybe you
Uh,
can finish before 243.
okay, from 233.
No,
Okay.
from the very top.
Mhm.
From the very top.
Okay. Okay.
No,
Receive.
they could no
No.
longer look upward.
Up
Up
towards.
toward heavenly values, but had to look down towards bodily and earthly ones, hitting dirt all the days of its life, means that the sensory plane became incapable of living on anything but what was bodily and earthly, so that it turned hellish. In the earliest heavenly sort of people, the sensory capacities of the body served the inner self obediently and beyond. That they had no interest in those capacities after they began to love themselves, though they put sense experience ahead of their inner self. As a result, their
Inner.
senses were separated from anything
It's inner.
higher. Inner. The
Inner
inner
self.
self. Inner self. The inner self. As a result, their senses were separated from anything higher, turned to serving the body, and so were condemned to hell. Okay, I can stop for now. If someone wants to read, he can.
It has already been shown that Jehovah God said to the snake means that they perceived their reliance on their senses to be at fault. So I will not dwell on the matter. The inner sense of the word establishes fairly clearly the symbolism of he said to the snake, a curse on you above every beast and above every wild animal of the field. The meaning is that the sensory level of the mind turned away from what was heavenly toward what was bodily, damning itself or bringing a curse on itself. Jehovah God the Lord never curses anyone, is never angry at anyone, never leads anyone into a crisis.
Crisis.
Yeah, crisis. He does not even punish us, let alone curse us. It is the devil's screw. Devil's screw. What is screw?
Crew.
Screw. It's like gloat.
Gloat.
Gloat. Crew. Crew. It is a devil's screw that does such things. Nothing of the sort could ever come from the fountain of mercy, peace, and goodness. This passage and many others in the Word describe Jehovah God as not only turning his face away, being angry, punishing, and testing, but even killing and, yes, cursing. This was in order to foster the belief, foster, foster.
Foster.
Foster like promote, encourage,
Mm.
favor, foster, cultivate. To foster the belief that the Lord controls and arranges every last detail in the universe, including evil itself, punishments, and times of trial. After accepting this very general idea, people would learn just how he controls and arranges things. They would see that he transforms the evil involved in punishment and in our or ordeals. I don't know this word ordeals into good. Ordeals into good. What does it mean? Ordeals.
I don't know.
And in our because I cannot translate this word because it's like maybe I will try to translate. Mhm. Ordeals. Ordeals like this. Because this word is separated between two pages.
Yeah, I saw it.
And does it mean ordeals? Ordeals. It's like trial test.
Okay, it's yeah,
Mm.
trial. Okay.
Ordeals into ordeals, like how to pronounce it? Ordeals.
Deals.
Ordeals.
Ordeals.
Ordeals into good. All scriptural teaching and learning begins with the most general things. For this reason, the literal meaning abounds in broad ideas. Broad ideas. Like wide, I think broad. Yeah. Mhm.
Broad.
Wide.
I can
The
continue
meaning
if you
of the
want.
beast. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The meaning of the beast. Oh, what is that? The meaning of the
Beast.
beast. Beast. Ah,
Beast.
okay. The meaning of the
It's like
beast and the
wild
wild.
animal.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
The meaning of the beast and the wild animal of the field as feelings is established by the things said about beasts and wild animals above at 45-46. Let me add to those statements these verses in David. Reign you stir up with goodwill, God. You are the one who strengthens your struggling inheritance. Your wild animal will live in it. Here, even a wild animal stands for a positive feeling, since this is what will live in God's inheritance.
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 Mm.
That's good.
Stir.
stir like it's like mixed. Rain you
Like if
stir
you
up,
okay. If you
but
stir a
stir
soup.
up. But in the sense, rain you
Stir up.
stir up like. Mm, I don't understand what does it mean. Rain you stir up
Rain you
with
stir,
goodwill.
stir.
Let's see.
I don't understand either.
It's about rain. I thought it's about like ruling, but it's rain.
No.
Mhm. Stir up like to call rain. Rain you stir up with goodwill. Stir up. It's about rain. If you call like arouse, arouse rain.
Okay,
And
okay, right.
this word is inheritance. Listen,
Inheritance.
Inheritance.
inheritance. Mhm. It's like
He-
legacy.
yeah,
Legacy.
yeah.
Legacy.
I knew it. Okay,
Mhm.
right.
Even
Let's
God's
continue.
inheritance. Yeah, go on.
The reason Genesis 3:14, like Genesis 2:19-20, speaks of the beasts and wild animals of the field, while Genesis 1:24 and 25 speaks of those of the earth, is that this verse describes the church, or in other words, a person who has been reborn. The first chapter, on the other hand, dealt with the absence of religions, or in other words, a person in need of regeneration. The word field applies to the church of the regeneration. Regeneration.
Original.
Regenerate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or the regenerate individual. The serpent traveling on its belly means that the sensory level could no longer look up towards heavenly values as it had before, but only down toward bodily and earthly ones. This can be seen from the fact that in ancient times people used the belly to symbolize the things that are closest to the earth, chest to mean things higher than the earth, and head to mean the highest things of all. So here it says that the sensory plane, which by its nature is the lowest plane of the human mind, would travel on its belly because it's turned towards earthly things. In the Jewish religions, to a decency, to a, okay,
Tendency.
to a tendency towards lower, vas-y, fais voir.
Tendency.
Okay,
Tendency.
aspiration.
Trend.
Okay, to a tendency. Okay, the Jewish religion to a tendency toward lower things was symbolized by pressing one's belly down to the ground and by sprinkling dirt on one's head. David puts it this way. Why do you hide your face? Why forget our misery and why in our oppression? For our soul has bowed down to the dirt and our belly clings to the earth. Rise up as a helper to us and ransom us for the sake of your mercy. Here again we can see that when we turn away from Jehovah's face on our okay
Ransom.
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 It's like redemption. Ransom.
Oh okay. Redemption. Okay,
Redemption.
right.
It's like pay for redemption. Redemption.
Okay.
Our
Okay. Our stomach begins to cling to the dirt and the earth. The belly of the big fish that Jonah was cast into symbolizes the underground realm as a prophecy in the book of Jonah. Shows from the belly of the hell I shouted, you heard my voice. In this verse, hell stands for the underground.
So, hey,
The underground hell. I stop there.
why everyone muted their mic?
Quelqu'un veut lire? Someone wants to
What?
read?
Read what?
you can see on
Ah,
the stream. We are reading the book. You can see this book on the stream.
when people fixed their sight on heavenly aims, then they were said to go upright and to look up, or what is the same forward. But when why the words like that? When they looked toward badly, it sounded more better than in my head.
Bodily. But when they looked toward bodily, this word, it's about body and earthly goals.
Yeah. My accent sounds much better in my head. So,
And go on if you can.
alright, where did I left? Look toward bodily and early goals. They were said to bow to the ground and to look down or backward. Leviticus, huh?
Leviticus. It's a book. Book Leviticus. Writer.
Leviticus was an example. Joseph, someone's name. I'm your
Jehovah. It's Jehovah. It's the English
Jehovah.
name of God.
Jehovah.
Wow.
Jehovah. It's Hebrew name in English. It's the Hebrew name of God in English. Jehovah.
Oh.
Like
Jehovah.
in Hebrew language, yeah. Jehovah. In
Jehovah. I'm your. Scroll to the next page. I'm your God. What the? I'm your God. I'm your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to keep you from being
Slaves. Slaves is like
right, yeah.
slavery. Mhm.
Slaves to them. Can you make the font much smaller? A little bit, just.
Me?
Yeah, can you make it smaller? The font.
My phone? I mean, my microphone or what do you
No,
mean?
no, the font, the text font. Can you make it smaller so the words just can't be in the two lines? It's kind of hard to read when it's two lines.
Sorry, I don't understand. I mean, do you mean the size of font?
Yeah.
Font smaller font.
There are options.
Actually, I because I am on smartphone and it's good to read on PC, because if I will make my font size smaller, it will be more difficult to read on PC.
All right, not a problem.
Because Mhm.
So why everyone did mute their mic? Hmm?
Who muted?
What?
Who muted?
What's the matter?
Read, just
I don't.
read. Jeremy, read.
Oh,
Who wants
okay,
to?
if you
Who
want.
wants to read? You can read. You can
No,
read. Yeah.
I'm
Who wants to
sure
read?
you wanna read it.
Like, I can read it, but I would prefer that
Mhm.
somebody is like to train. But okay, I'm gonna
Read
read.
Everyone here.
from
Okay.
read from the top. From this.
Okay. God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to keep you from being slaves to them, and who broke the restraints of your yoke and made you go upright. In Micah, you will not remove your neck from the evil. Yeah?
Micah.
In
I think
Micah.
it's Micah.
Okay.
It's like Michael.
Micah.
Yeah, Micah.
Okay. Right. In Micah, you will not remove your neck from the evil plan for you, nor will you go upright. In Jeremiah, that's my name actually. In Jeremiah, Jerusalem sinned a sin.
It's in English. It's Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, well, that's
Jeremiah.
the same thing. Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
It is your name, yeah?
It is
Is it your
my
name?
it is my real name.
Oh, it's
I
a
was
beautiful
named
name. It's like
I was
it's the
named
name of prophet.
yeah, actually I was named for him.
Mhm.
What
Okay,
is
anyway,
that book anyway?
yeah.
Good for you.
What?
What?
What's the book name?
It's
Jeremy.
the book Secrets of Heaven. This book I will show you. Secrets of Heaven by Emanuel Swedenborg.
You're Russian?
It's about I know Russian language, and
Oh.
I read this book in English, and I'm learning English from this book. Actually,
That's a good
this book
thing.
is about spiritual meaning of the book of Genesis of the Bible. Spiritual meaning, like inner meaning.
Okay, it's like an
Swedenborg.
explication.
Yeah, like interpretation.
Yeah.
Swedenborg
Fair
gives us
enough.
the method how can we interpret holy books like Bible and Quran into other holy books by using this method of, it's like a method of correspondences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm not that religious, so I usually read books about social engineering. It's about how to interact with people, to use them the best way you can if you just want to use them.
Oh, okay. Right.
And interesting book.
Well, let me finish the chapter if you want.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
Okay. So in Jeremiah, Jerusalem sinned a sin. For that reason they despise her. Because they saw her nakedness, yes, she groaned and turned backward. From her up high he shot fire into my bones, and made me go back. He rendered me desolate. In Isaiah, Jehovah your Redeemer is turning the wise around backward, and he changes their knowledge into foolishness. Voilà, that's it. You can go on if you want.
Who wants to continue? Next.
Jahan, you opened your mic. You got to do it.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll read.
Yeah.
I read.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. 249, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Eating dirt all days of its life means that the sensory plane incapable of
Became
became
became. Mhm.
became incapable of living on anything but what was bodily and earthly, so that it turned hellish. This can likewise be seen from the symbolism of dirt or dust in the word. In Micah, for instance, pasture your people as in the days of old. The nations will see and will be ashamed of their power. They will lick dust like the snake, and like the slitherers of the earth, they will be rattled out of their enclosures. The days of old stand for the earliest church. The nations stand for those who trust in their own ability, of whom it says that they lick dust like
What is slit
slither.
slitterers?
I know it's
Slitterers or
slitherers
slitterers?
or slitherers.
Sliverers.
Slitherers.
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 Maybe we can see in dictionary slitherers. It's like dictionary Merriam-Webster doesn't have this word.
I don't
Okay.
know. It's like slitherers.
What is rattled? Rattled, like dictionary, maybe. Rattled.
To make a rabbit.
Rattle.
Rattled. To make a rapid succession of short, sharp noises.
You don't hear
Since
this word in regular spoken language.
it's like Twitter. Twitter. Let's see. This word. And translator, maybe. Yeah, like roaring,
Rattled.
like thunder, rumble, knock, scare. This, okay. Out of the enclosures. What is enclosures? Enclosures, yeah? how to pronounce it?
Enclosures.
Enclosures, like application, housing, attachment, compound. It's like fencing, maybe. Okay, enclosures. Next page.
Snakes in David. Before God, the barbarians will bow down, and his enemies will lick dust. Barbarians and enemies stand for those who focus only on earthly and worldly considerations in Isaiah. Snake's dirt will be their bread, since dirt symbolized those who did not have their eye turned in a spiritual and heavenly direction, but in a bodily and earthly one. The Lord ordered his disciples to shake off the dust of their feet if a town or a household was unworthy. For dirt as a symbol of what is damned and hellish. See more at verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Thank you. Who wants to read next? I think I will read this. It's my turn. Genesis 3:15. And I will put hostility between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He will trample you on the head, and you will wound him on the heel. It escapes no one today that this is the first prophecy of the Lord's coming into the world. The words themselves make it clear. From this prediction and from the prophets, even Jews know that Messiah will come. No one yet, however, knows the specific meaning of each part. The snake, the woman, the snake seed, the woman seed, the snake's head that he will trample, and the heel that the snake will wound. An, ex- an explanation then is due. The snake refers in general to all evil and particularly to self-love. The woman refers to the church. The snake seed refers to all unbelief. The woman's seed refers to faith in the Lord. He refers to the Lord himself. The snake's head refers to the tyranny, tyranny, like tyrant, like dictator, tyranny.
Tyranny.
Tyranny, despotism, tyranny of evil in general and of self-love in particular. Trampling refers to pushing it down until it travels on its belly and eats dirt. The heel refers to what is bottommost. It's like about bottom, more bottom.
Bottommost.
Bottommost. It's like very bottommost on the earthly level, such as an orientation toward the body. This is what the snake is going to wound. The meaning of the snake, as all evil in general and self-love in particular, is due to evil's point of origin. All evil rises out of a fixation on the senses and on facts, which is what the snake first symbolizes. As a consequence, the snake now symbolizes evil itself in any form, and specifically self-love or hatred directed at others and at the Lord, which is the same as self-love. Because the evil of hatred is multifaceted. What is it?
Multifaceted.
Multifaceted. It's like
Multidimensional.
multidimensional. Multifaceted and divides into many general categories and an even larger number of specific forms, the word distinguishes its forms by speaking of different kinds of snakes. There are generic snakes, cockatrices. It's like any kinds of snakes. Generic snakes.
Cockatrices.
Cockatrices, like basilisk. Cockatrices. Asps, blood-letting snakes, and presters or fire snakes. Presters, like a lot of kinds.
Priesters.
Priesters. Priesters or fire snakes. There are flying snakes and creeping ones, and there are vipers. The determining factor, determining, how to pronounce,
Determining.
determining, like defining, determining. Factor is differences in their venom, and the venom is hated. In Isaiah, for instance, do not rejoice through and through, Philistia, that the rod striking you has been broken, because from the root of a snake a cockatrice will come out, and its fruit will be a flying fire snake. The root of a snake is a reliance on the senses and on factual knowledge. A cockatrice, cockatrice,
Cockatrice.
cockatrice is evil from the resulting falsity. A flying fire snake is the kind of desire felt by self-love. The same prophet deals with the same animals in another way using these words. They will hatch the eggs of a cockatrice and weave the webs of a spider. Whoever eats of their eggs dies, and when one is crushed, a viper is hatched. In Revelation, this snake is called a big red dragon and the ancient snake. It is also called the devil and Satan, and the one who leads the whole inhabited world astray. In this place and others, devil never means an individual devil who is the ruler of the others, but the total horde of evil spirits and evil itself. The meaning of the woman as the church can be seen from the heavenly marriage described above. The heavenly marriage is a relationship in which heaven and so the church is united to the Lord through its sense of self. In fact, heaven and the church are to be found in the feeling of independent existence, because without it there could never be union. When the Lord in His mercy infuses our selfhood with innocence, peace, and goodness, it still seems to be our own, but it becomes heavenly and full of the greatest blessings, as you may see above it. I cannot yet say, though, what a heavenly angelic identity received from the Lord is like, nor a hellish diabolical identity generated by ourselves. The difference between them is like the difference between heaven and hell. Maybe someone wants to continue from this? Because of the heavenly angelic sense of self, the word calls the church a woman, a wife, and a bride, young woman, and daughter. It is called a woman in the book of Revelation. A woman enveloped in the sun, and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And the dragon persecuted the woman who had given birth to the male. Here the woman means the church, the sun means love, the moon means faith, and the stars mean religious truth, as stated before. These things the evil spirits hate and persecute with all possible energy. The church is called both a woman and a wife in Isaiah. Because your husband, your maker, Jehovah Sabaoth, is his name, and your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, is called God of the whole earth. For Jehovah has called you as a woman abandoned and afflicted in spirit, and as the wife of his youthful days. Here, plural forms are used in the original for the husband, maker, because human selfhood is involved too. A woman abandoned and the wife of his youthful days stand specifically for the ancient church and the earliest church, likewise in Malachi. Jehovah has stood as witness between you and the wife of your youthful days. The church is called the wife and bride in the book of Revelation. I saw the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down from God out of the sky, prepared as a bride, dressed up for her husband. Come, I'll show you the bride, the Lamb's wife. As for identifying the church as a young woman and a daughter, the prophets do this often. The meaning of the snake seed, as all unbelief, is established by the symbolism of the snake as all evil. Seed is what yields a harvest and is also the harvest yielded. In other words, seed is what breeds and is bred. Since breeds is bred, like breeds and bred. Yeah,
breeds,
it's like bear fruit, deduce, like reproduce, reproduce, and is bred. Since the subject here is the church, what is bred is unbelief. Isaiah uses the term seed of the evil, seed of an adulterer, and seed of a lie in talking about the Jewish church after it was corrupted. Doomed to a sinful nation, to a people weighed down with wickedness, to the seed of the evil, to ruinous children. They leave Jehovah behind. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel. They have backed away. Backed. Backed. It's like support. Backed. They have, but in this sense, backed away, I think like step, retreat. They have backed away. Far away. In another place, come up here, you witches' children. Witches' children. What is it?
witches,
It's like witchcraft. Witches, children, seed of an adulterer. Are you not the offspring of transgression, the seed of a lie? In addition, you were thrown out of your grave like a despicable,
despicable,
despicable like disgusting, shameful, despicable offshoot, because you ruined your land, you killed your people. The name of the seed of the evil will go unmentioned, unmentioned forever. These verses are speaking of the snake or dragon called Lucifer here. The meaning of the woman's seed as faith in the Lord is established by the symbolism of a woman as the church. Her seed is nothing else but faith. Its faith in the Lord is what causes the church to be a church and to be called one. faith is called God's seed in Malachi. Jehovah has stood as witness between you and the wife of your youthful days, and not one has taken action, not the nor the remainder, in whom there is a spirit. And what is the one who is seeking God's seed? But keep watching your spirit to keep anyone from betraying the wife of your youthful days. The wife of one's youthful days is the ancient church and the earliest church. Its seed or faith is what is being discussed in Isaiah. I will put water out on thirsty land and streams on dry ground. I will pour my spirit out on your seed and my blessing on those descended from you.
What are you reading about?
It's about spiritual meaning. This book. It's about spiritual meaning of the book of Genesis of the Bible.
Okay.
It's Emanuel Swedenborg, the author of this book, Secrets of Heaven,
You Christian?
volume one. Swedenborg, yeah, he was a Christian,
No.
and he was a scientist. It's like this book is about spiritual meaning of Bible. Like it's about intelligence and mind. Because Swedenborg didn't write about literal meaning of the Bible. He wrote only about spiritual meaning of the Bible, and this meaning is about mind of human. It's how can we make the world a better place like this. hmm Maybe someone wants to continue this reading, if you're able to.
Where did you stop? Sorry.
From this is also about the church in Revelation. Yeah, from the top. You can read from the top. This.
Okay. The dragon was enraged against the woman and went off to make war with the rest of her seed, those who were keeping God's commands and who possessed Jesus Christ's testimony. And in David, I struck a pact with my chosen one. I swore to David, my servant, I will establish your seed forever, and I will make his seed everlasting, and his throne like the days of the heavens. His seed will exist forever, and his throne like the sun before me. Here, David means the Lord, the throne, his kingdom, the sun, love, and the seed, faith. Not only faith is called the seed of the seed of a woman. The Lord himself is so called as well. This is partly because he alone gives us faith, so that he alone is faith. It is also because he chose to be born and in fact to be born into a religion that had sunk all the way down into a hellish, the diabolical.
Mhm.
Is it correct?
Yeah, diabolical. I think.
Diabolical.
Diabolical. It's like devilish. It's about devil.
Diabolical. Devilish.
Devilish. What belongs to devil? What
Dia-
belongs to devil?
okay.
Mhm.
Diabolical kind of selfhood, through self-love and materialism. He was is it born? Yeah, he was born
Born.
in order to unite his divinely heaven-like selfhood, selfhood on a human one. In the context of his human nature, by the use of his divine power, so that they could become one inside him. Had he not united them, the world would have ended in total destruction. Because the woman's seed is the Lord, then the text refers to it as he, not it. The fact that the snake's head means the what is it again? Tyranny.
Tyranny. Yeah, tyranny. It's
Tyranny.
about tyrants like dictators. Tyranny.
Okay. Uh, Tyranny of evil in general and of self love in particular can be seen in the nature of self love. Its character is such that it seeks power, and not just power, but power over everything on earth. Not stopping there, in strives of control over everything in heaven. Even then, it does not rest up but aims for power over the Lord. And in the fact it still would not rest at that point, this tendency lies hidden in every single glimmer of self love. Just indulge that love and ease the restraints on it, and you will find it instantly rushes out and swells to those dimensions. You can therefore see how the snake, the evil of self love, wishes to dominate, and how it hates anyone it cannot dominate. That is the snake's head, which lifts itself up and which the Lord tramples down to the ground. So that the snake travels on its belly and its dirt, and as the previous verse says, this is how Isaiah describes the snake of dragon called Lucifer. Lucifer, you said in your heart, I will scale the heavens, I will raise my throne above and stars of God, and sit on the mountains of assembly, on the flanks of the earth. I will climb onto
Mhm. Uh, how do you say this word?
the
I think
the snake.
it's there because the in English grammar we can say before vowel sounds vowel like if it before for example
Describe the snake.
before,
Okay.
yeah if it vowel like for example
I got it.
the one it's like vowel sound it's the but there if it before s or t like this. Mhm.
The
Would you agree?
snake. Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's right. Because you often say the before not vowel
yeah,
sounds.
yeah, yeah.
It's like
TH
funny.
was a little hard for
Hmm.
me, sorry.
Hmm. If you see A, O, like E, you should say the. But if you see like S, T, D, you should say the.
Alright, got it.
Like this.
the,
The,
The
the and D. Okay.
okay. The loftiest part parts of the cloud. Sorry,
The cloud.
the
The
cloud.
cloud.
I'm sorry. It's a little hard for me, I'm sorry. I will
Mhm.
work it out.
Do you know what is vowel sound? Like
Yeah,
A, O, E. Hmm. It's vowel. Hmm.
okay.
Go
I
on.
will become equal to the highest one. Nevertheless, you will be thrown down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
The
The
pit.
snake, the pit, right?
Hmm.
The snake or dragon is also described in the book of Revelation. There was a big red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on its heads were many crowns. But it was thrown on the earth, on the earth,
The
right?
the
The earth.
yeah here
All right.
here is the earth because it's vowel
Oh,
sound
oh yeah.
e. Hmm.
Thanks. Okay. These verses describe how high it lifts its head. In David, Jehovah said to my Lord, sit at my right till I have placed your enemies as a stool for your feet. Jehovah will send the scepter of your strength out from Zion. He will judge the nations. He has filled them with corpses? Is it
Hmm.
corpses or
Corpses.
corpse?
Corpses.
Corpses.
Corpses, I
He has,
think. Corpses.
corpses,
Corpses like dead bodies. Corpses.
he has crushed one who was head over much land from the river along the way. He will drink, therefore he will lift up his head. Uh, Trampling or crushing the snake means pushing it down until it travels on its belly and eats dirt, as has now been demonstrated in this verse and the last. Isaiah has something similar. Jehovah has thrown down those who live up high, the sorry, exalted,
The exalted. Exalted,
exalted.
like elevated. What is above? Exalted.
The exalted city he will humble. He will humble it all the way to the earth. He will level it all the way to the dust. His foot will tread on it. Another, he will throw them down to the earth with his hand,
Mm-hmm.
with his feet, the crown of ha- haughtiness, haughtiness.
Ho- ho- haughtiness. What is it? Haughtiness. Haughtiness.
hootiness,
Hmm.
hootiness,
Maybe, but transcription is like haughtiness. Maybe we can see the pronunciation in dictionary. We
Haughtiness.
can listen. I think it's haughtiness.
Haughty,
Haughty, like haughtiness,
Haughty. Yeah,
haughty,
haughty.
haughtiness.
Haughtiness. Yeah, what this word?
haughtiness,
Mhm.
Haughtiness.
haughtiness,
Haughtiness. Haughtiness is like any arrogant. Yeah, arrogant. You see, like synonym. It's like it's a bad stuff, like arrogant. Yeah. Okay, will be trampled. Next page.
The meaning of the heel as what is bottommost on the earthly level or the bodily dimension cannot be known without information on the way the earliest people viewed the various levels inside us. They connected heavenly and spiritual qualities in us with the head and face. They connected the effects of those qualities, charity and mercy. For instance, with the chest, things on the the ear, earthly
Earthly.
earthly.
hmm
The earthly level they connected with the lower leg, those that rank fairly low they associated with the foot, and the very lowest earthly and bodily concerns with the heel. In addition, not only did they connect such attributes with those body parts, they even called them by those names. The heel also means the bottommost things in the rational mind, which are the facts we know. They are involved in Jacob's prophecy concern, concerning Dan. Dan will be a snake on the path, on as of the track, biting the horse's heels, and its rider falls off behind. They are also meant in David. The wickedness at my heels has surrounded me. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, I'll continue. Genesis 25:26 says that when Jacob came out of the womb, he was grasping Esau's heel, which is why he was called Jacob. And the meaning here is the same. The name Jacob comes from the Hebrew word for heel, because the Jewish church, symbolized by Jacob, was to wound the heel. Snakes are able to hurt only the lowest things on the earthly, able to hurt, like to ruin, think hurt.
Hurt.
Hurt, like pain, to harm, hurt. Only the lowest things on the earthly plane. Unless they are a species of viper, they cannot harm the more interior things. Interior.
Interior.
Interior, like inner part. More interior things we have on the earthly plane, still less those on the spiritual plane, least of all those on the heavenly plane. All these things the Lord protects, and He stores them away without our awareness. What the Lord stores away is called a remnant, or survivors in the Word. The pages to come, though, by the Lord's divine mercy, will reveal how the snake destroyed those lowest things in pre-flood people through a focus on the senses and through self-love. They will show how the snake destroyed them among Jews through a concern with sensory experiences, tradition, and trivialities. What is it? Trivialities.
Trivialities.
Trivialities like trifle, vulgarity,
Vulgarity.
vulgarity. Trivialities and through self-love and materialism. Then they will show how the snake who has destroyed and is destroying people at the present day through sensory, scientific, and philosophical matters, and once more through self-love and materialism. The foregoing discussion shows that the church of those days learned through revelation that the Lord would come into the world to save them. Genesis 3:16. Maybe someone wants to read?
I can read.
Go ahead.
Okay, the foregoing discussion shows that the church of those days learned through revelation that the Lord would come into the world to save them. Genesis 3:16, and to the woman he said, I will vastly multiply your pain and conception. In pain you will.
Pain in conception, like in giving birth.
In giving birth, yeah.
Conception, yeah.
Conception.
Conception, like
Conception.
conceiving. Fertilization.
Yeah. Yep.
And birth. In pain you will.
In pain you will bear children. Bear is like having. Is like holding.
To give birth. Yeah, to give birth children. Yeah.
Okay. In pain you will bear children, and your obedience will be to your husband, and he will rule over you. The woman now symbolizes the church on account of the self-dependence the church loved. To multiply pain vastly symbolizes conflict and anxiety stem from conflict. Conception symbolizes all thinking. The children she would bear in pain symbolize the truth the church would produce in this state. The husband or man here as be
How to pronounce this word?
Stemming.
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 You said steaming. Yeah, it's stemming.
I said stimming, but it's stemming. Yeah.
Stemming.
And what
Stemming like
resulting, emanating, occurring, okay. Happen, arise,
emanate.
okay. It's like smoke, you know. The smoke is stemming. Okay. Before symbolizes the rational capacity which the church is to obey and which will rule. The symbolism of the woman as the church has already been mentioned. Here she symbolizes the church corrupted by the self-dependence that she symbolizes earlier. The subject under discussion being the generation
Being.
that what?
It's being. You said begin. This word.
Being
Being.
the subject under discussion being the generation that
Being.
Being.
okay inherits the earliest church which had become corrupt. When the sensory level of the mind turns away and brings a curse on itself, the consequences is that evil spirits start to fight hard and the angels present with us start to work hard. So vastly multiplying pain in conception and in the bearing of children depicts this conflict in our thinking. Depicts. Depicts. Okay, our thinking and in the development of true ideas. J'en fais just last one, okay? Conception and the bearing of children in the world are taken only in the spiritual sense. Conception as the thought and imagination of the heart, and the children born as true ideas. This may be seen in the following words from Hosea. Ephraim, like bird will they glory. Like a bird will they glory, fly away, abandoning birth and the womb and conception. What's the womb?
Womb. It's like a belly of a woman.
Womb.
Okay.
Womb where children live.
Uterus.
Where
Okay.
baby lives before before birth.
Okay. Womb and conception. Even if they bring up their children, I will still believe them so that no one person is left, indeed doomed to them, since I will have departed from them. Here Ephraim symbolizes the intelligent or an intelligent understanding of truth, and the children symbolize the true ideas themselves. Hosea has more of the same to say about Ephraim, or the intelligent person who has lost all sense. The pains of a woman in labor came on him. He is an unwise child, because of the at the time when children break open the womb, he will not present himself. In Isaiah, blush Sidon because because the sea, the stronghold of the sea spoke, saying, I was not in labor, did not give birth, and did not bring up young men or raise young women. As when Egypt receives the news, they will go.
How do you read this word?
Woman.
It's women. It's a lot because let's see.
Women.
Transcription. Women because it's several women, because if one is woman, but if
Okay,
several
okay. Oh
women,
yeah, you're right. You're right, actually.
yeah, if you see before n, before and before, if you see before n and e, it's women, but if you see before n a, it's woman.
Okay, the thing
One
is,
letter.
woman is like for a singular person, and woman with a e is for multiple womens, like in
Women.
general. Yeah. Okay.
Women. We. Women.
Women.
No, women.
That's women.
E. After we, you should say e. We mean. Okay. Listen.
Women.
And this is transcription.
Women.
Transcription. We, but I. We mean women.
Women.
This is
No,
transcription.
no, no.
No.
You say
Women.
можно я ему
Yeah.
we mean it's for plural form. If you say for single form, you say we men. Okay?
Woman. Woman is for a single person, but women is for
Yeah.
multiple.
Yeah. Всё.
I have some difficulties with that. I'm sorry. As when Egypt receives the news, they will go into labor over the news from Tyre. Here Sidon stands for people who had religious knowledge but destroyed it by turning it into mere facts so that it became sterile. In the same prophet. Before she goes into labor, she gives birth, and before pain came on her, she delivered a male, who has heard a thing like this, who has seen things like those. Those the earth labor for one day, and I cause it to give birth. Jehovah has said, I am the bringer of birth, going to close up the womb. Your God has said. This deals with regeneration and the children.
You said those. How did you say this word?
Does.
Does, but you said those.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry. Okay, does. Okay. Again, symbolize the true ideas belonging to faith. Things that are good and true, because they are the things conceived and born of the heavenly marriage, are also called children by the Lord in Matthew. Matthew. The one who sows good seed, the son of humankind. The field is the world, but the seeds are the children of the kingdom. In John 8:38, the Lord calls the goodness and truth that belong to a saving faith the children of Abraham. Seed, after all, as stated in 255, is faith, and therefore children who come from seed are the good deeds and true ideas of faith. As a consequences, because the Lord is himself the seed, he called himself the son of humankind, meaning the church's faith. Okay, I stop there.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to read next?
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mhm. The symbolism of the husband or man as a rational capacity can be seen from verse 6 of this chapter, which says that the woman gave to her husband who was with her, and he ate, which symbolized his consent. The symbolism can also be seen from what was shown about the man in 158, where it means wise and understanding person. Here, so because the eating from the though here though because the eating from the tree of knowledge had destroyed wisdom and understanding. The man means the ability to reason, since nothing else was left. The rational capacity imitates or seems to resemble an intelligent understanding. Every law and commandment has something heavenly and spiritual as its source and true origin. So this law for marriage stating that a wife should be under the influence of her husband's good sense also has a heavenly spiritual origin, since she acts on desire, which is self-centered and not so much from reason as man does. Genesis
Mhm.
and to the human, he said, because you listened to the voice of your wife and ate from the tree concerning which commanded it you, saying, you will not eat from it, a curse on the ground because of you. In great pain, you will eat from it all the days of your life. The human, in listening to the voice of his wife, symbolizes a man that is the rational faculty and the fact that it consented. Because the rational mind consented, it all also turned away or brought a
Curse.
curse on
Curse.
itself. On itself. On this account, the whole
Curse is like curse on itself.
Curse.
Curse. It's like oath. Anathema. Curse.
the whole outer self did the same, which is what is symbolized by a curse on the ground because of you. He's eating from it in great pain, which means the unhappy condition of life to come was to last right to the end of that charge, all the days of his life. The symbolism of the ground as our outer self can be seen in what was said earlier about the land, the ground, and the field. People who have been regenerated are no longer called land but ground because they have been planted with a heavenly seed. The word in many places also compares them to ground or calls them such. It is our outer self, or the feelings and memory of our outer self. That the seeds of goodness and truth are planted in. They are not sown in our inner self because the inner self lacks anything of our
Own.
own. Things of our own exist in the outer self. Our inner being holds good qualities and true thoughts. When they seem to have departed, we are then shallow, body oriented people. Still, the Lord stores those things up in our inner self without our knowing. They do come out of hiding until our outer self dies.
Maybe hiding.
Hiding.
It's hiding. If one D, it's hiding, but
Hiding.
yeah, if 2D, it's hidden. It's
Hiding.
hiding.
Are hiding until our outer self dies. So to speak, as frequently happens in times of trial, misfortune,
Trial.
trial,
Trial.
trial,
Trial and misfortune.
Trial.
Trial like test. Trials.
mhm.
Misfortune. Misfortune. Like this.
Misfortune.
Misfortune.
It's like unfortunate.
Yeah. Misfortune. Like
Misfortune.
misfortune.
Misfortune, grave illness, or imminent death.
What is imminent? Imminent.
Imminent.
Imminent. Like close. Future.
It's something that really happened. The ability to reason also belongs to the outer self. In its true character, that capacity is a kind of bridge between the inner self and the outer, because the inner self directs the outer body-centered self by means of it. But when the rational mind consents to self-dependence, it separates the outer self from the inner, so that we no longer know the inner self exists. As a result, we also fail to see what understanding and wisdom are.
Do you see, you everywhere you say the before vowel
I
sound.
can't. I
Yeah,
only say the.
it's the. I mean, if do you see it's vowel sound like the
If for example,
ability.
AI before the, yeah, you understand, we should say that the.
The, yeah. Do you see the outer in this, but the and here is the two. Here is
For example,
the inner.
when what? But when the, we said they, because are.
Here, do you see here is the, because it's not vowel sound, it's r. But if
Yeah,
here is the, like
okay.
гласный, согласный,
Yes,
гласный,
yeah.
перед гласным the,
But it's hard to
перед согласным.
every minute to control yourself and remember this.
And wisdom are
Belonging as they do to the inner realm.
correct.
That's all.
Go on if you can.
Okay. The things demonstrated above in 245 make it clear that Jehovah God, the Lord, did not curse the ground, which is the outer self. The outer self rather turned away or separated from the inner self and brought a curse on itself by doing so.
It's like rather. They said rather. I think it's rather.
Rather.
Rather. Transcription rather.
It's another word. It's razor and rather.
Rather.
Transcription is rather, and by curse on itself by doing so.
The symbolism of что там написано? I
Eating.
don't see.
Eating.
Eating from the ground in great pain as life in an unhappy condition stands out clearly from the verses that come before and after. In addition, the deeper sense of eating is living. Furthermore, an unhappy life is the kind that follows when evil spirits start to attack and the angels with us begin to struggle. Life becomes even more unhappy later when the evil spirits start to take command. Those spirits then control our outer self, and the angels control our inner self, of which so little is left that the angels can hardly cool cool
What is
anything.
it? Cow. What is it? Cow.
Cull.
Like reject, take away, and collect to. I think in this sense, like reject to collect, angels can hardly call, maybe collect.
Call anything, yeah, correct. Call anything from it to defend us with. The consequence is misery and distress. People who
Distress.
are distress.
It's like stress, distress,
Distress.
distress, grief.
Mhm. People who are spiritually dead rarely feel that kind of misery and distress because they are no longer human, even though they consider
Consider.
themselves more human than others. They have no greater ability to recognize what spiritual and heavenly qualities uh, uh, are
Or
what internal life is then a brute animal. Like an animal, they face down toward the things of earth, or they turn their attention outward toward worldly affairs. They foster their own interests exclusively and indulge their tastes and their senses.
indulge.
Mm,
Indulge.
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 It's like devote himself, surrender,
mhm.
engage.
Indulge their taste and their senses. To all this, their rational mind wholly consents. As they are dead, they would be
Unable.
be unable to hold up, unable.
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 Um,
Able and unable.
yeah. I'm unable, for example, to hold up under any onslaught or trial. Onslaught, what is
Onslaught.
this? Onslaught.
Onslaught. Maybe slaughtering. Yeah.
Onslaught.
It's fight.
Onslaught. Yeah, like attack. Onslaught.
Any onslaught or
Onslaught.
trial.
Mhm.
If trouble come,
Trial or onslaught to trial. You said trio. Trial.
tr-
Trial like test.
trial.
Trial.
Yeah. Trial
Trial.
test. If trouble come on them, it would
Came.
came
Came.
on them, it would weigh them down too much to allow continued life.
Continued. It's like
Continued life.
continuous.
Continued life. In this way, they would bring still greater curses on themselves and rush headlong into a damnation even more profoundly hellish. For this reason, they are spared until they are cross over into the other life, where trials and unhappiness retain no power to kill them. Then they undergo severe troubles.
Severe. Severe maybe.
Severe.
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 Severe,
Like brutal. Heavy, serious.
severe troubles. This likewise is what is symbolized by the words "a curse on the ground, and in great pain will you eat."
Eat. What is spared?
Spared.
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 I
Spared,
spared
like
my money.
save. Spared money. Save money.
Mhm.
When will you eat?
From it. Um, the symbolism of the days of his life at the end of the church's days can be recognized when one considers that this is not talking about an individual, but about religion and its stage of development at the end the end of this
The
church
end.
day.
The,
The
the
end
end.
of this church days came at the time of the flood. That's
Flood.
all.
Flood.
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 It's like acceptation.
Ah,
Because if accept this word is acceptation.
Flood.
Because
flood.
you should read like flute concerning English grammar, but this word is flood. It's acceptation.
Flood.
Mhm.
Flood.
Flood.
Okay, who wants to read next? Maybe. Okay, I'll read. Genesis 3:18, and it will produce thorn and thistle for you, and you will eat the grass of the field. Thorn and thistle mean the curse and ruination. The fact that he would eat the grass of the field means that they would live like animals. We live like animals when our inner being is so radically, how to pronounce radically?
Radically.
Radically, fundamentally, radically separated from our outer being, that the inner being cannot direct it except in the most general way. Our identity. I think it's identity.
Identity.
Yeah, identity. As human beings, we receive from the Lord through our inner selves, but our identity as animals we receive from our outer selves. The outer self is separated from the inner, is in itself merely an animal. Its nature, its desires, its appetites, its delusions, and its sensations are like an animal's, and its physiology is similar as well. Despite the similarity, simil, similarities, maybe similarities,
Similarities.
similar elements, similarities. Our outer self has the ability to engage in reasoning with keen penetration, as it seems to us, and this ability is ours by virtue of the spiritual substance through which the Lord's life can flow into us. But when the self is disconnected from our inner self, the Lord's life is perverted in us and becomes an evil life, which is death. And this is why we are then called dead. The symbolism of thorn and thistle as the curse and ruination is established by the fact that field crops and fruit trees symbolize just the opposite: blessings and fertility. Fertility. Fertility.
Fertility.
Fertility. This symbolism of thorn, thistle, briar, bramble, and nettle can be seen in the word as in Hosea. Look, they have left on account of their ruination. Egypt will gather them. Moth will bury them. Will bury. Bury.
Berry.
Bury. Bury. It's like dig. Bury what is desirable of the silver. The nettle will inherit them. The bramble will be in their tents. He bramble. Bramble is like blackberry. Bramble. Actually, I want to see the picture bramble because I heard this word. Bramble. Yeah, it's a fruit. Bramble.
No, it's
Yeah.
not fruit. It's a ягода. Ah,
Yeah, this is bramble. The seeds bramble.
it's not. No. You said what? Bramble. It's you said blueberry or what? Blackberry. You said.
It's like synonym. I think it's like blackberry. Blackberry.
Mm.
Blackberry.
Blackberry. Bramble. But actually, in this sense, bramble is about thorn because it's not good stuff to be in the tents because it's like thorn. Where is it? Yeah, the thorn. Thorn is like, and blackberry is too like thorn because thorn is bad thing. Yeah, this is thorn, and blackberry has the same like thorns. It's bad thing.
I understand.
Berry. Yeah, the bramble will be in the tents. Here, Egypt and Moth stand for those who wish to gain wisdom about divine things from their own minds and the facts that they know. In the same prophet, the high places of heaven, the sin of Israel, will be destroyed. Thorn and thistle will climb over their altars. Thorn and thistle. The high places of heaven stand for self-love, thorn and thistle on the altars for profanation. In Isaiah, thistle is like thorn too, like bad thing too. Yeah,
Thistle.
thistle. They're beating their breasts because of the desirable fields, because of the fruitful grapevine. On my people's soil, the briar's thorn will come up. And in Ezekiel, no longer will there be for the house of Israel a stinging, briar stinging. What is it? Stinging?
Stinging.
Stinging. It's like bite. Stinging briar or a painful thorn from all their surroundings. The fact that eating the grass of the field or fodder, what is it? Fodder, found in the wild.
Fodder.
Fodder like feed. Fodder. Find in the wild. What is wild?
Wild.
Wild. Wild. Yeah, wild animals. I knew this word, but the wild, because when I read wild animals, it was adjective, but this is the noun, like
Wild.
wild in noun. Mhm.
Wild it's like село на русском, по-моему. Где-то я слышала.
Wild. No,
No?
it's like
Field. Field. It's look like this word. It's another.
Wild.
it's wild.
Uh,
It's noun here,
yeah, I know,
but
but
actually,
can you
mm,
roll to the under? Yeah, you see that the synonym of this filed полевой.
wild,
In this
wild bee.
sentences, maybe it's I don't know. Maybe meaning that in the field,
No,
in
it's like
some.
it meant the ferociousness of the forest, like a wild animal, an untamed animal. Like a wolf is wild, you know, because it's
Maybe it is
ferocious.
jungle. Can you say it's jungle? Because do you see this synonym is like
Maybe.
jungle too. Jungle. Do you see jungle?
Jungle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
jungle
you
is
can
noun.
a wild jungle,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
can say untamed,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but after that I don't
because
know.
of a being found in the wild, like jungle. Maybe, yeah.
Mhm.
Is living like an animal can be seen from Nebuchadnezzar's story in Daniel. They will drive you away from humanity, and your dwelling place will be with the beast of the field. They will make you eat grass like cattle, and 7 seasons will pass over you. In Isaiah, have you not heard? From far away I did this, from the days of old, and I formed it. Now I have caused it to come, and it will be for tearing down bulwarks, fortified cities into heaps. Bulwarks, bulwarks,
Bulwarks.
bulwarks. It's like bastion, stronghold, bastion, into heaps. And their residents, their hand shortened, have felt panic and shame. They have become field grass and green grass, the grain plant on the roofs, and the plowed field burnt out in front of the standing crop. This explains what field grass and what green grass, the grain plant on the roofs and the plowed field burnt out mean. It is referring to the time before the flood as implied by the words far off and days of old. Implied.
Implied.
It's like assumed.
Assumed.
Assumed. Okay, who wants to read next? Genesis
Me.
3:19.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. In the sweat of your face will you eat bread until you return to the ground, because from it you were taken. For you are dirt, and to dirt you will return. Eating bread in the sweat of his face means rejecting what is heavenly, returning to the ground from which he was taken means returning to the external person as it was before regeneration. Being dirt and returning to dirt means being damned and resembling hell. The symbolism of eating bread in the sweat of his face as rejecting what is heavenly can be established by the symbolism of bread. Bread means everything of a spiritual
Resembling.
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 It's like just like.
Yeah,
Resembling,
Just like.
just like. It's like.
just like
Mhm,
resembling.
mhm.
Spiritual or heavenly character, which is food for the angels. If they were deprived of it, they could not live any more than a person deprived of bread or food can. The heavenly and spiritual things existing in heaven also correspond to the bread on earth. Moreover, they are represented by bread, as can be seen in many passages. The Lord is bread because everything heavenly or spiritual comes from Him, as He teaches in
Mhm. Person deprived of bread.
Deprived.
Deprived.
Deprived like lost,
Lost.
take away, take
Mm,
away, like to be taken away from of bread.
okay.
Deprived of bread. Teaches in dawn.
Drone, this is the bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. In consequence, bread and wine are symbols in the Holy Supper. This heavenly aspect was represented by the manna as well. Exodus, uh, the fact,
Numbers don't matter.
okay, the fact that heavenly and spiritual things are angels' food is also clear from the Lord's words. Humankind shall not live on bread alone, but on every word coming out of God's mouth. That is, humankind is to live on the Lord's life, the source of every heavenly and spiritual quality. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you. Who maybe someone wants to continue?
Okay, can I?
Go ahead.
The final generation of the earliest church, which directly preceded the flood and is a subject of these verses
These,
of these
these. No,
verses.
it's like these, like long, to say long. You see,
These.
these.
These
hmm
These.
These.
these verses was so degenerate and so immersed in what belonged to their senses and their body that they refused to hear about religious truths or about the Lord's nature. Nor did they want to know that He was going to come and save them. At the simple mention of those things, they turned their backs. Such rejection is depicted by the eating of bread in in the sweat of one's face.
I think it's like sweat. It's let's see.
Ah,
Sweat.
Yeah, sweat.
sweat.
Like sweat. If it is hot, or if you do hard work, you will have sweat on your head,
Yeah.
forehead, like this, on one's face.
It was similar with the Jews, whose nature was such that they would not acknowledge heavenly things and did not want any other Messiah than a worldly one. For that reason, they could not help rejecting the manna, which represented the Lord, and calling it worthless bread. This is why snakes were sent among them. What is more, the heavenly thing that they benefited from in their distress, in their misery, and in their tears, they called the bread of distress, the bread of misery, and the bread of tears. Deuteronomy, Kings, Psalms, the things they benefited from even while rejecting them here called the bread of their faces sweet. Sweat,
Sweat.
sweat, 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 sweat. This is the inner meaning. No one who stresses the literal sense gains any more from it than the fact that humanity would wrest their food from the ground by the sweat of
What is rest?
their rest.
Humanity would rest,
Rest.
rest,
Rest.
rest, like
For
distort.
example, I rest your tongue.
Yeah, in this sense, like rest the food from the ground, because if you live on the ground in the field, where can you take your food? You would rest your food from the ground,
Yeah.
from the harvest by hard work because it's very hard work.
The human being here, though, means not an individual, but the earliest church. The ground does not mean ground, the bread, or the garden, a garden, but things that are heavenly or spiritual, as has been sufficiently illustrated already.
Sufficiently, yeah, sufficiently.
Sufficiently.
It's like quiet.
Sufficiently.
Quiet.
Quite.
Quiet.
Mhm.
Illustrated already.
Returning to the ground from which he was taken symbolizes the charge to return to the external person as it was before regeneration, and this is established by the symbolism of the ground as the outer self, which was stated earlier. Stated earlier. The symbolism of the dirt at that which is damned and resembles hell can be seen from the things said about the snake, where the prediction occurs that it would eat dirt because of its accursedness. In addition to the passages, they are showing the symbolism of dirt or dust. Let me add the following from David. All those descending to the dust will bow down before Jehovah, and anyone whose soul he did not revive.
A cursedness, like it's about curse, yeah. Do you remember curse? Yeah.
Accursedness.
It's
See?
the same thing. Yeah, this is the same, like curse and the cursedness. For example, in dictionary, what's the difference? Maybe we can see in dictionary cursedness. Being under or as if under curse, yeah. To being under curse, because synonyms like cursed, Okay, it's next page.
In another place, you hide your face. People are troubled. You gaze their spirit. They
Gather,
pass gather.
gather.
You
It's like
gather.
to collect, to collect,
Uh,
Gather.
gather.
gather,
Gather.
collect, gain. Yeah.
You gather their spirits. They pass away and return to their dust. In other words, when they turn away from the Lord's face, they pass away or die, and so return to the dust. That is, come to be damned and to resemble hell. The idea involved when all these verses are taken in sequence is this: the sensory capacity turned away from the heavenly side. The Lord was to come into the world to renew the sensory and the heavenly. Because the outer self turned away, conflict arose, resulting in misery, damnation.
Mm-hmm. Say this word.
This, this, this,
This. And
this,
this. And say this word.
this.
Yeah. It's this and but you say like this and this,
Huh.
this and this.
This. Okay.
Mhm. Nation.
And in the end, hell, um, these consequences followed one another in that church from the time of the fourth generation through to the flood. And the human called the name of his wife Eve because she will be the mother of every living thing. And Jehovah God made leather tunics for the human and his wife and clothed them. And Jehovah God said, he is a human has been like one of us, knowing good and evil. Evil.
E- Evil.
Evil. Evil. And no, perhaps people will put out their hand and take from the tree of leaves as well, and eat
Lives.
ah l-
It's
lives.
because tree of lives. It's not it's not a verb here. It's now like
Tree
tree.
of
It's like now tree of lives. You see, because you should translate this word from context.
Lives.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um.
Like it's like life.
No. For example, life when it's lot
It's,
lives.
yeah.
It's changed to F to V and ES. If you
Yeah.
know.
And if it is a verb like
And
predicate, you should read like leaves.
leaves.
He
Uh,
lives, for example, in this area.
mhm. The tree of leaves as well, and they eat.
Lives. Lives. The
You
tree
said
of lives. You said leaves.
no
It's it's
tree of.
lives. It
Yeah.
because do you see because of
Mhm.
if you see of what? It's
Mhm.
noun here. Here, tree of lives. It's about life.
Mhm.
It's not about to live.
Uh-huh.
Listen,
The tree of lives.
Tree of lives.
tree of lives.
Uh-huh.
Tree of lives.
Yeah, it's not a verb. Yeah, I understand.
Hmm.
Lives as well, and eat and live forever. And Jehovah God sent them away from the Garden of Eden to cultivate the ground from which they were taken. And he threw the humans out, and he caused guardian beings
To
to
leave.
live to live to live on the east of the Garden of Eden, and the flame of a sword turning itself to guard the way to the tree of lives.
Hmm.
Who
It's
the
like a
next?
summary. Summary. Who wants to read next?
Me?
Where
Can
should
I?
I start? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, Salmon. Okay, you go first.
No, no, no. Go, go.
Me? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
This passage as a whole deals with the very earliest church and those in it who fell away. As a result, it also deals with that church descendants through to the time of the flood when it passed away. They were as follows. The true church of earliest times, which had a heavenly nature, because they lived a life of faith in the Lord. This church was called Eve, and the mother of every living thing. The first generation of descendants who had a spiritual kind of heavenly good, and the second and third generations who had good on the earthly level, symbolized by the leather tunic that Jehovah God made for the human and his wife. The fourth generation among whom earthly good began to disappear. Had they been created anew or been taught the heavenly ideas involved in faith, they would have perished. Perished. This is the force of the word. Perhaps people will put out their hand and take from the tree of lives as well, and live, live forever. The fifth generation, they were completely deprived of goodness and truth and regressed to the condition they had been in before regeneration. This is being sent away from the Garden of Eden to cultivate the ground from which they were taken. The sixth and seventh generations, they were withheld from the knowledge of anything good or true and were left to their own filthy loves and delusions. This provision kept them from profaning the scared beliefs of faith. These things are symbolized by the fact that they were thrown out and that guardian beings were caused to live there, together with the flame of a sword to guard the way to the tree of lives. Okay, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who wants to read next? In Armenian?
Yeah, me.
Who wants? Go ahead.
Up to this point, the next has been dealing with the very earliest people and their regeneration. First, it spoke of those who lived like animals and finally became spiritual people. Next, it spoke of those who became heavenly people, the ones who made up the earliest church. Then it returned to those who fell away and their heirs, right? Tracing them in
Ha-
order.
hairs is like hairstyle, yeah, like hairs. Oh no, hairs.
As.
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 It's like successors. Descendants.
Successor.
Successor. Heirs.
Heirs. Tracing them in order. The first generation to inherit, the second, the third, and lastly those that followed, right up to the flood. These
Flood.
verses, flood. These
It's,
verses at the, go ahead.
Flood.
no, you see transcription. Flood.
Yeah, flood.
Flood.
Like high water.
Yeah, I know. These verses at the end of the chapter contain a review extending from the people of the earliest church up to the time of the flood, which brings closure to all that came before. Genesis, yeah. And the human called the name of his wife Eve, because she will be the mother of every living thing. The human here means the individual of the earliest church or the heavenly person. His wife and the mother of every living thing mean the church. The word mother is used because this was the first church, while the word living is used because this church believed in the Lord who is lived, who is life itself. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. I will continue. The meaning of the human as the individual of the earliest church or the heavenly person has already been demonstrated. In fact, it was shown that the Lord alone is human, and that heavenly people acquire their humanity from him because they are his likeness. This is how all who belonged to the church came to be called human, no matter how they were or what they were like. In the end, all that was required was that they appear physically human so that they could be distinguished from animals. The meaning of a wife as the church and in a comprehensive sense as the Lord's kingdom in heaven and on earth has also been demonstrated before. It follows then that a mother has the same meaning. The word frequently uses mother for the church. Take Isaiah. Where is your mother's document of divorce? In Jeremiah. Your mother has been actually shamed. Yeah, it's about these passages are about meaning of mother, because when we read mother, we should understand the meaning of it. And these passages, like if you're like translators, yeah, we should take any closer meaning of this word from that passages, for example. In Jeremiah, your mother has been actually shamed. She who gave birth to you has blushed with embarrassment. Embarrassment. Blushed with embarrassment.
Embarrassment.
It's like confusion, embarrassment. In Ezekiel, you are your mother's daughter, showing disgust for her husband and her children. Your mother is a Hittite, and your father an Amorite. The husband stands for the Lord and very heavenly quality, the children for religious truth. A Hittite stands for falsity and an Amorite for evil. In the same author, your mother was like a grapevine that resembled you, planted next to the water, fruitful, leafy was she, because of the many waters. Resembled. It's like planted, I think. No.
Resembled.
Resembled is like remind. Resembled. The mother stands for the ancient church. The earliest church is the main one to be called a mother because it was the first and was also the only heavenly one, so that the Lord loved it above all others. The fact that the church was called the mother of every living thing by reason of its faith in the Lord who is life itself can also be seen from earlier evidence. In no way is to be possible
Nein,
for more.
nein. Aufhören. Stopp.
What are you saying?
Stopp.
What do you mean? Do you want to read? Or what?
Caller,
Hast du Bock, Leute?
mute.
Neuer Niveau ist unsere Erde.
It's a troll.
Schulen erst vor eurem Skill.
Swedenborg, just mute him and
Dreckigkeits interessiert mich nicht. Gebe dem Monat einen vergoldeten Rasierklingenstich. Lass den Lied-Clan sterben. Wir ziehen alle Member ab. Für Saltives Wetter wie ein Dirty Sprite Lemon Cup. Es ist Shake das einzig wahre. Bring den Namen.
This is a
Steht aus deiner
troll.
Zunge, vielleicht lernst du, wie man spricht. Früher sagten sie, dass mein Clan sowieso floppt. Sag was gegen mich, Kiddo, und du bist geblockt. 33 Member, Digga, wir haben aufgestockt. Nenn mich
In no way is
so
it
aka der
possible
Boss.
for more than a single life force to exist from which all other beings receive life.
Thomas, ich hab
Any
Connor.
life?
Was hast du?
Ich hab Connor.
Was hast du?
Welcher Call?
This is the second troll.
Ah, was?
Ja.
Paul, Schnauze.
What?
Schnauze,
Sorry,
du bist selber
wir
Troll.
sind so kind.
Sieg heil my guys.
E3.
It is his friend, yeah?
We don't
Like
understand
friend.
Germany. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But do you understand Sieg heil?
Germans people are funny, very funny people. They they like to troll sometimes.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Ich troll aber nicht.
I have no friends in real life.
Okay, maybe you want to read? Okay. From early evidence, in no way is it possible for more than a single life force to exist from which all other beings receive life. Any life that is truly to be life must come by way
Leon?
of faith in the Lord, who is life. And
Oder lass
any
ihn einfach mal
faith,
lesen.
Ey, lass mal da runter zu diesem Karaoke-Ding. Das ist komplett behindert.
who is life, and any faith that is to have life within it must come from him, and therefore must have him within it.
Thomas,
But
E3,
this,
das ist Connor.
Warte, wo?
actually, it's
E3.
English speaking. It's English speaking channel. Speak English, please. Actually,
Nein.
we're reading the book in English here.
Thomas, in E3 ist Connor.
Wo ist das? Ich finde das nicht.
E3.
Nach oben scrollen.
Da oben oder
English
unter uns?
practice.
For this reason, the word describes the Lord as the only living being. It uses the names Jehovah, who lives, the one who lives forever, and the fountain of living water in Jeremiah. It calls heaven, which lives from him, the land of the living. People who believe in the Lord are called the living, as in David, who places our soul among the living. Of those who believe, it also says that they are in the book of life. By the same token, those who accept a faith in the Lord are said to be brought back to life. Those who do not believe, on the other hand, are by extension called dead, as in Isaiah. Extension. extension.
Extension.
Expansion. Extension. It's like extension, like format of file in computer. The dead will not leave. The refame will not rise again because you inflicted punishment on them and obliterated them. Obliterated.
Obliterated.
It's like deleted, destroy,
Deleted.
deleted. The dead here stand for people inflated with self-love, inflated.
Inflated.
Inflated. Like pumped. Who is inflated with self-love here, for example?
How
Inflated
can
with
you repeat? Can you
inflated?
translate this word? I don't. Inflated.
It's like inflated, like pumped. For example, inflate you to be inflated with self-love, like to be pumped, like do you understand? Like надутый, like
Maybe it's says
like arrogant, to be arrogant,
I got it. I
inflated,
got it.
self-love.
inflated with
Arrogant.
self-love. For example, you are so like stubborn like this, inflated with self-love and rising again symbolizes. Okay, let's see the picture of this. You can see
Yeah, I don't understand.
inflated. It's like figure of speech, or maybe it's about ball. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's about ball. For example, this cat is inflated like this. Inflated cat.
It's about became
This is it.
aggressive.
Aggressive?
No, it's like it's about it's
Bigger.
it's about важный, напыщенный like this.
And no, I'm a little bit this word. I'm inflated.
Гордый,
For
maybe.
yourself.
Maybe you need to find this word in your language. Maybe it will helpful.
In dictionary, inflated because it's figure of speech, because it's not about ball like balloon. Yeah, distended with air or gas like a
Yeah.
balloon, but it's figurative language because it's about people. They see people inflated with self-love, like
Yeah.
будучи надутыми
Yeah.
самолюбием.
It's a bad
Inflated
character
with
for person.
And rising again symbolizes entering into life. They are also referred to as victims of stabbing. Victims. Victims, I know what is victims. But I don't know what is stabbing. Victims.
Stabbing.
Stabbing. Like piercing.
Yeah.
Stabbing. Hell is called death. The Lord as well refers to them as dead. This verse, Genesis 3:20, describes the first era, when the church was in the flower of its youth and represented the heavenly marriage. As a result, the passage depicts the church as a marriage and gives it the name Eve, from the Hebrew word for life. Mhm. Who is next?
Okay, can I?
Go
And
ahead.
Genesis and Jehovah God made leather tunics for the human and his wife and clothed them. These words symbolize the fact that the Lord taught them about spiritual and earthly goodness. The verbs make and close express the idea of his instruction, and Eliza tunic embodies the idea of spiritual and earthly goodness.
Do you know what is leather tunic? Yeah, leather tunic.
I know what is leather, but tunics I don't know.
Leather.
Tunic. It's like tunic. It's like jacket.
Ah,
Jacket.
Jacket.
Mhm.
no, tunic it's another thing. Tunic it's like long, long.
Okay.
How
Let's
to
see.
say it?
Leather tunic. A picture. I want to see picture.
No. It's not jacket.
It's like jacket. I think. Yeah, this is.
No, it's not jacket. It's
This is.
maybe it's
what is this?
maybe it's like which use in I don't know 20th century custom. I don't know.
Yeah, bodies. It was very like how to say. It was very. I forgot this one. Okay. Embodies leather tunic embodies the idea of spiritual. I mean, it was very expensive.
Maybe.
Clothes, garment, expensive garment.
Maybe.
Embodies the idea of spiritual and earthly goodness.
Goodness. None of this symbolism.
Okay, it's you read. You read.
None of this symbolism could ever be detected in the literal meaning. Also, the fact that the words involve something deeper is readily apparent. Apparent. Anyone can see that Jehovah God did not make leather tunics for them. The symbolism of the leather tunic as spiritual and earthly goodness likewise escape people.
Escapes.
Escape. Escapes.
Apparent. Is readily apparent.
Apparent.
Apparent. Like visible. Escapes people.
Unless it is revealed to them by an unveiling of the inner meaning, and then by other places in the word that use similar terms. The verse uses the general word leather, which implies goat, sheep, and ram skins. In the word, these symbolize good emotions, charity, and the effects of charity. The sheep used in sacrifices had a similar meaning. Anyone with a supply of charitable goodness that is of spiritual and earthly goodness is called a sheep. though the Lord is called the shepherd, and people who possess charity are termed sheep, as everyone knows. The reason it says they were dressed in a leather tunic is this. The earliest people were described as naked on account
Naked.
on account of their emotions.
Naked.
Naked. Naked.
Naked.
Guys, what is the name of this application?
It's a Ridera. You can see.
It is a premium?
It's free. It's free version. No, it's not premium, but it's like the name of this
Swedenborg,
application. Ridera.
I want to add this app, but it's app only to Android. For example, iPhone, I can't this add to my phone.
I didn't know it. It's very famous application. I think. Maybe iPhone doesn't
No,
have.
it's in App Store. We don't have. Maybe in Play Market, this you have this app, but I don't know. Try.
Yeah, it's for Android. Yeah. Maybe there are another applications. You can find other applications for a phone.
Similar like this.
Yeah, with dictionary, with possibility to use
Did I
dictionary.
need to have PDF actually? I mean books in my phone.
I mean, do you see? I can use dictionary. I can translate from translate it from dictionary, from web search. It's very good to learn English with this application.
Yeah, we need to level up our English. But the question is, did I need to have books in my phone to use Redera?
Ridera, I don't know. I'm using Samsung, not iPhone. On Android, I don't know about iPhone.
I have an Android also, but the problem is, did I need to have PDF in my phone? You know, books in my phone, or when I use it, I have PDF in.
Type Ridera in Play Market.
I think he's asking if he want to read a book through this application, does he need the book data? I think he's asking this.
Yeah, this is my question.
You can read EPUB format. For example, this book is EPUB format. You can see EPUB. And it can read PDF format.
Thank you.
And to read electronic books.
Yeah, PDF ones.
Okay, keep reading. Who was reading?
The reason it says they were dressed in a leather tunic is this. The earliest people were described as naked on account of their emotions.
Innocence.
Later,
Innocence. Don't you know this word?
I don't
Innocence.
know.
It's like virginity.
Innocence. Later, when innocence died, how innocence can be died? They observed that they were caught up in evil, and that too is described as nudity. But now, in order for all the details to come together as a story, as required by the ancients' manner of speech, They are said to be closed so as not to be naked or involved in evil. They did possess spiritual and earthly goodness, as is clear from statements and evidence regarding them offered at verses 1 to 13 of the present chapter. And from the assertion here that
What is this assertion?
assertion
Assertion.
It's like a statement.
judgment.
I don't understand Russia. So can everyone explain to me?
We translate from synonyms. Do you see? Because this
Statement.
translator has a lot of synonyms, and you can, if you know synonyms, you can
If
translate
you
from
say, for
synonyms.
example, your opinion, it will be assertion. No, yeah.
Assertion.
Statement, your statement.
Judgment too.
Swedenborg.
Yeah.
You still reading that?
No,
Bro.
it's another book.
It's another book. It's
Is it by Swedenborg?
yeah. This is a book of Swedenborg, Emanuel Swedenborg.
Bro, don't you want to try another writer or anything? You only read Swedenborg?
Swedenborg read
Yeah,
only Swedenborg books.
Yeah, I want to read all his books. I have read five books, but I think I have 4 books else.
4 books
this
left.
book else, yeah, like I want to read 4 books of his.
Yeah,
because,
bro, I think you should try another writer too. Like, there's a lot of good writers, but you just obsessed with the Swedenborg.
Yeah, maybe later I will read other writers when I will finish books of Swedenborg.
You're
I'm
crazy,
going to read.
Why
I'm
Swedenborg?
going to read The Last Temptation of Christ. If you don't like to read this book, you can leave this channel.
No, I love to read this book, but like every time you read Swedenborg, you should try another one too.
He said to you,
For
when
example,
he finished all the Swedenborg books, they start to read another books writers.
Who?
Swedenborg said to you.
Yeah, I answered.
Said to me, read a Nazi book?
Yeah, when I will finish reading books of Swedenborg, I will read other books. For example, I'm going to read The Last Temptation of Christ by Nikos Kazantzakis. But this book is very difficult to read because there are a lot of new words for me. And because Swedenborg is very easy to read and to learn English because words are repeating here and words are simple. Maybe it's difficult to understand, but it's easy to read and to learn English from books of Swedenborg because it's modern English language. And this book has very...
You're so smart.
Yeah, it's very smart and wise books because Swedenborg has 3rd highest IQ in history. His IQ is 206. It means he's a genius. 3rd highest place of IQ in history. And I believe if I will read books of Swedenborg, I will be more smart and wise because it's about wisdom and knowledge. Okay, can we continue? Maybe, yeah.
Okay, where I stopped?
Assertion.
Yeah.
From
assertion.
yeah, assertion.
Assertion, yeah, statement. It's statement. Here that Jehovah God made clauses for them. This verse you see concerns not only the first generation in the church, but more particularly the
Particularly.
particularly
Mm-hmm.
Particularly.
particularly,
particularly
particularly,
Particularly. Particularly. The last
It's like
particularly
L, we don't pronounce the last L.
particular
particularly,
particularly.
particularly.
Mm-hmm. Particularly. If you want to look like smart person, you can use this word particularly in conversation.
Okay. The second and third generations who were granted that kind of good. Kid, sheep, goats, badger, and ram skins symbolize spiritual and earthly kinds of good. These can be seen in the inner meaning of the word where it deals with Jacob and with the ark. In respect to Jacob, he was dressed in Esau's clothes and where his hands and neck lay
Bro, I'm sorry. Can you just show us how this was or something like that pronounced?
which is a
Which
word.
word?
It was dressed in the
Esau's
war.
clothes, maybe. I don't know. Esau's.
This word?
Yeah, this one.
Esau's.
Esau's. It's a name
Those.
of
I
man.
think the translation from this word it's not right.
Why not? It's I think
Должно
it's
быть написано
correct.
как Исы, типа, но не Исавов. Это неправильно.
Esau's.
Esau's.
И здесь же имеется про... это не Иисус, это же другой человек. Извиняюсь.
Yeah. It's in Old Testament. It's like brother of Jacob. Jacob. Esau's.
Esau's clothes and where his hands and neck lay bare. In the skins of God's kids. When Isaac smelled them, he said, "My son's smell is like the smell of the field." The symbolism of these skins, as spiritual and earthly forms of good, will be seen at that location. With the Lord's divine mercy. In respect to the ark,
Mercy. It's not merci. It's merci in French. In French, it's merci.
Not just mercy. Mercy, it mean show some.
Pardon.
I have the word, but I don't know how to.
Mercy.
It's, for example, somebody excuse.
Not excuse. When you want
It's
to
about
punish,
charity.
when you want to punish someone, and he says, "Please mercy." Do you
Yeah,
understand?
it's about it's
It's
about
like,
judgment. Yeah.
please don't kill me, mercy.
Yeah, it's like that.
Okay. In respect to the ark, the tabernacle covering was made of ram's skins and badgers skins. Whenever iron and
Rams, I
badgers.
know what is ram, but what is badger?
Badgers.
Badgers,
It's an
like
animal.
Yeah, wild animal. Rams
badgers.
is like sheep. It's like
Yeah, I
male
know.
sheep. Yeah.
I think it's the
Rams.
child of sheep.
Baranov.
Mm-hmm.
It's male sheep. Yeah, ram or not? Or
It is
maybe
the child. It is the child of sheep. I think so.
What are we reading? The Bible.
Child. 1 month ago with Swedenborg, we want to find how to say difference from rams and sheep. Rams, it's a son or daughter of sheep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we said. It's the
Ah.
child.
Ah.
rams. No, I can demonstrate. Rams is a big sheep with horns. No, it's it because it's no. It's I should remove this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this it's
No,
like
no.
truck. I don't know. Okay.
Right.
I think.
Ram
Yeah,
animal.
I see.
Come back.
I see.
Ram
Yeah,
animal.
ram animal. Do you see? This is what this is ram. It's not.
Это значит
It's an animal
архар.
wild. It's a wild sheep.
Это архар же.
No, it's. Do you see? It's not wild.
It's a wild sheep. Come back.
It's a male sheep. I mean, sheep is a woman, like, but ram is man. I think so. Yeah, because he has
Баран,
horns.
it's a man.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Ram is an wild. It's a wild animal. It's a wild sheep. And the sheep is a man.
Ah, okay.
I'm confused, bro.
Yeah. I think this question we need to ask to native speakers. Maybe they explain. Okay.
Баран и овца. Есть разница? Баран это мужчина.
Maybe он,
No?
может быть, имеет в виду про вот диких, которые бараны, не которые, типа, у себя там в селе где-нибудь. Это про диких имеется в виду.
Badger, maybe badgers is wild. Yeah. No, badgers
Это
is like.
барсук.
Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Okay. Whenever Iron and his sons set out on a journey, they would cover the ark with a blanket of badger's skin. They did the same with the table for the bread and its utensils.
Utensils. No, utensils.
Utensils.
Do you know this word? It's like.
Utensils.
Yeah, it's
The fork.
animal.
No.
Fork, spoon. Yeah.
The lampstand and its utensils. The golden altar of incense and the utensils for ministry and for the altar of burnt offerings. The symbolism of these skins as spiritual and earthly good will be seen at that location as well, with the Lord's divine mercy. Whatever went into the making of the ark, dwelling place or tent, and even what Aaron wore when dressed in the holy garments symbolized something heavenly and at the same time spiritual. Not the smallest item existed that did not have.
I think it's item. Smallest item. You said item.
It's an item.
Item.
Item like element. Item. Smallest item existed that did not have.
Its own representation. That's all.
Who wants to continue? Maybe.
I want to.
Go ahead.
Alright. Heavenly goodness is unclothed goodness because it's the deepest good and innocent. Heavenly good that is spiritual is the first level of good to be clothed, and earthly good is the next because these two kinds are more external. They are also compared to clothes and are even called clothes. An example occurs in Ezekiel, where the subject is the ancient church. I clothed you with embroidery, gave you shoes of butter, swathed, swathed you in fine linen, and covered you in silk. Dang, too many words that I don't know in this small paragraph.
Badger.
This is an animal. Animal.
Yes, badger is like animal. Animal.
Alright, but embryo is a small.
Embroider.
Is when they get born.
Embroidery, like it's like garment with different colors, like this. Embroidery.
Embroidery.
Swatch.
What? Yeah, what's that?
Swathed, like swathed, maybe.
Swathed. Swathed.
Swathed is like wrapped. Bandaged. To be wrapped in any clothes, any cotton, maybe. This is swathed in you in fine linen. It's like cotton, and covered you in silk. Okay, go on.
Alright. In Isaiah, put on your finest clothes, Jerusalem, your holy city. In the book of Revelation, who have not defiled their clothing and will walk with me in white because they are worthy. Revelation. The same book also mentions the 24 elders wearing white garments. So the more external kinds of goodness, which are heavenly, spiritual, and earthly good, are clothing, and this is why people endow with the goodness that accompanies charity appear wearing dazzling clothes in heaven. In the current verse, however, because they are still in the body, they wear a lethal leather tunic. Genesis. And Jehovah, God said, here the human has been like one of us, knowing good and evil, and now perhaps people will put out their hand and take from the tree of life as well, and eat and live forever. The reason Jehovah God speaks at first in the singular and then in the plural is that Jehovah God means that the Lord and at the same time heaven with its angels. The fact that the human knew good and evil means that people became heavenly and so became wise and their standing. The implied desire that they not put out their hand and take from the tree of lives is a refusal to let them taught the mysteries of faith. If they were taught, they would never be saved to all eternity, which is living forever. Ooh, damn. Here lie two hidden pieces of wisdom. One is that Jehovah God symbolizes the Lord and at the same time heaven. The other is that if those people had learned the mysteries of faith, they would have been destroyed forever. To take up the first, Jehovah God means that Lord and at the same time heaven. It needs to be observed that the word uses different names for the Lord, always for a hidden reason. At one time, he is called simply Jehovah, at another, Jehovah God. the God, at another the Lord Jehovah, at another the God of Israel, and at another simply God. In Genesis 1, for instance, the only name used is God, and he speaks in the plural there as well. Let us make a human in our image. Not until the next chapter, which treats of heavenly people, is he called Jehovah God. If can someone else
Go on.
continue, please? Yeah, sorry.
Mm.
Can someone else
Mhm.
continue? Hello. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Let's start. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. He is
Thank you.
called Jehovah because he alone is. He alone lives. The name comes from his beingness. Beingness.
Beingness.
Beingness. It's like being. Beingness. He is called God because he is able to do anything. The name comes from his powerful ability. Evidence for this appears in the word in places where the two names are distinguished. For this reason, each angel or spirit who spoke to people on earth they called a god. If they considered that angel or spirit to be capable of accomplishing something, this can be seen in David. God stood in the assembly of God. In the midst of the gods, he will pass judgment. In another place, who in the heights of the sky will compare with Jehovah, will be like Jehovah among the children of gods. Again, acclaim the God of the gods. Acclaim the Lord of the lords. Acclaim.
Acclaim.
It's like greet. Acclaim. Proclaim. Human beings are also called gods by virtue of their power, as in Psalms, John. Moses was called a god to Pharaoh. For the same reason, the Hebrew word for God, Elohim, is plural. Angels have no power at all on their own, however, as they themselves confess, but only receive it from the Lord. Because of this, and since there is only one God, Jehovah God in the word means the Lord alone. But when anything occurs through the ministry of angels, as in Genesis 1, then the plural is used. Here it also says, the human has been like one of us, knowing good and evil, that is, has been wise and intelligent. This is because people of heavenly character, being human, could not be compared to the Lord, but only to angels. The other secret is that if they had learned the ministries of faith, they would have been destroyed forever. Such is the meaning of the words. Now perhaps people will put out their hand and take from the tree of lives as well, and eat and live forever. The situation is this. People can reach a point where the structure of their life is turned upside down. They have no interest in receiving life or wisdom from any other source than themselves and their own powers. Under these circumstances, when they hear anything about faith, no matter what it is, they debate in their minds whether it is true or not, because they make themselves their sense impressions and the facts they have learned, their authority they cannot help denying, and when they deny, they blaspheme and profane. They end up with no concern about whether they are intermingling, intermingling.
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 Are you from Russia, mate?
I I don't say where I'm from, but I know Russian language. But actually, I translate. I don't see it Russian translation, but I see it synonyms, and I I try to translate from synonyms.
Intermingling.
Mingle. It's like mixed. Intermingling profane and holy things. If this is what we become, we are so utterly damned when we enter the other life, then that no hope of salvation remains. And this is because things that are mingled together through profanation cling to each other in their mixed condition. As soon as an image of something holy comes to our minds, the attached image of something profane appears, preventing, preventing,
Preventing.
Are you
protecting.
Russian?
I cannot say. I know Russian language.
Yeah, and where are you from? You have like Russian accent.
Yeah, I know I have accent, but I don't say where I'm from. I don't like to talk about myself. I cannot say about my location and nationality because I can
Okay,
say what I know.
no
I know
problems,
Russian
bro, no
language.
problems.
Yeah.
I know it too. That's why I can like feel the difference, like your accent.
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah,
doing here?
correct.
Like, what are you guys doing here, and why everybody is muted?
I'm reading the book, and we're reading the book. This you can see this book on the screen on the stream. This is this book I read, and I'm learning English from this book. If I don't know any word, I can translate it from this application. For example, if you want to read too, you can read next section after me in your turn. And if you don't know any word, I can translate it. You can say me.
Isn't it hard to like read on your phone?
Hard?
Yeah.
It's actually maybe it's easy to read, but maybe this book is difficult to understand for someone because the understanding of this book depends from intelligence and intellect because it's Swedenborg. Swedenborg is wise, very wise person, and he's a genius. He has third highest IQ in history. 206 his IQ. But it's easy to read because words are repeating here. It's this book is about spiritual meaning of the Bible and in the book of Genesis. But actually, we can use this method to interpret other holy books as Quran, for example, like Quran and other holy books. Because Swedenborg gives us this method to interpret holy books. An example of the Bible. The attached image of something profane appears, preventing us from keeping company with any but the damned. People in the next life, even the spirits in the world of spirits, and more so the angelic spirits, keenly perceive. Keenly. Spirits. Keenly. I forgot this word.
Keenly.
Keenly like strongly. Perceive what is present in and linked with the ideas that make up our thinking. Their perception is so keen that from a single thought they can tell what we are like. Profane things attached in this way to holy things cannot be wrenched. What is it?
Wrenched.
Wrenched. It's like break. Wrenched apart from them without the tortures of hell. Tortures so intense that if we knew about them, we would stay as far away from profanation as we would from hell itself. Mhm. Who wants to continue, maybe? I think.
Okay, can I?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
302.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That is why the mysteries of faith were never revealed to the Jews who were like this. So little was revealed to them that they were not even told plainly that they would live on after death, or that the Lord was going to come into the world to save them. They were, and they continued to be kept so deeply ignorant and oblivious that they had no idea, nor do they yet, that we have an inner being, or that an inner plane even exists. If they had known it, and if they knew it now, to the poor
Mm-hmm. Oblivious.
oblivious,
Oblivious.
forgotten,
Mm-hmm. Forgetful.
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 Forgetful. Oblivious. To
Yeah.
the point.
Point of acknowledging its truth, they are such that they would have profaned it, removing
Profaned.
forever, profaned it.
Profaned is like
Profaned.
profanation. Defile. Profaned.
Removing forever any hope of salvation in the next life. These are the things the Lord meant when he said in John, He has blinded their eyes and closed off their heart to prevent them from seeing with their eyes and understanding at heart, and turning and being healed by me. The Lord also spoke to them in parables without explaining a single one to them, so that seeing they would not see, and hearing they would not hear and understand, as he himself says in Matthew. For the same reason, all religious mysteries were hidden away from them, and veiled in the
Veiled.
wealth.
Veiled.
Veiled.
Veiled. Like hidden face. Veiled. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
For example, bride on the wedding has her face veiled with veil,
Uh-huh.
and this word hidden. You said hidden because if you see 2D, it's hidden, not
It's
hidden.
not hidden.
Hidden.
Mm-hmm.
You said
I
hidden,
forgot. I
but it's
forgot. Yeah,
hidden.
you said that if it's double
Mm-hmm.
D, it's hidden. Yeah, yeah. Hidden,
This is
hidden. Hide and
Hiding.
hidden. Yeah, yeah.
mm-hmm.
Representative acts and objects of their religion. For the same reason, again, that is what the word's prophetic mode is like too. But it's one thing to know, and another to acknowledge. When we know but do not acknowledge, it's as if we do not know. If we do acknowledge and then we blaspheme and profane, we are the people the Lord refers to. We build a life through all the things whose truth we persuade ourselves of, that is
Persuade.
persuade.
I forgot. Uh,
Persuade.
persuade.
Mm,
It's like convince.
mhm,
Persuade.
right. Ourselves of, that is the things we acknowledge and believe. What we are not persuaded of, or what we do not acknowledge and believe, has no effect on our mind. As a result, we cannot profane holy things unless we are persuaded to the point of acknowledgement and yet deny them. Those who do not acknowledge are capable of knowing, but it's as if they do not know. They are like people who know things but whose knowledge amounts to nothing. This describes the Jews at the time of the Lord's coming. Since that is their nature, the word depicts them as spiritually devastated or no longer possessing faith. At that point, there is no harm in opening the inner depths of the word to them, because they then resemble desired people who do not see, hearing people who do not hear, whose hearts are coarsened. The Lord spoke of them through Isaiah. Go and
Isaiah.
you, Isaiah?
Isaiah.
Isaiah.
Isaiah. Isaiah.
Mhm. It's the name of prophet.
Mm. Jesus and Isaiah, it's different, yeah, people.
Yeah, it's different writing because Jesus is like G, and Isaiah it's like I.
Isaiah.
Isaiah. It's a book. The Bible has 66
Mm-hmm.
books. The book of Bible has 66 books, and the book of Isaiah is one of books
Mm-hmm.
of Bible.
Mm-hmm.
It's the book of prophet, and
Mm-hmm.
this passage is from that book.
Okay. Go and you are to tell these people, listen, listen, but you are not to understand, and see, see, but you are not to know. Make the heart of these people fat and make their ears heavy, and smear over their eyes to prevent them. Smear over, what does it mean?
Smear, it's like it's like how to say, it's like мазь.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it
Smear.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Smear
Smear over their
smear over,
eyes.
maybe it's another. Can you translate these two words? Smear over.
Smear?
Smear over, it's just smear all. No.
Помазать глаза. No, smear over, like
Yeah.
как over.
All the eyes, yeah.
Okay, see.
Hmm.
Smear over their eyes.
Мазать им глаза.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Over is like under. Ну, like
Yeah.
на глаза.
Uh-huh.
To
I
prevent
just
them.
think that it's a phrasal verb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To prevent them.
From seeing with their eyes and hearing with their ears and understanding in their heart and turning to be healed.
Healed. Mm-hmm.
Religious mysteries are not opened up to them before they fell into this condition in which they are devastated or stripped of any continuing ability to believe. The delay until then, as I said, is to make it impossible.
I think it's delay, maybe delay.
Delay.
But delay.
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 Delay. For them to commit profanation. This too the Lord clearly states in the very next verses in Isaiah. I said, how long, Lord? And he said, until the cities are ruined, so that there is not a resident, and the houses, so that there is not a person, and the ground is desolated with a ruination, and Jehovah will take humankind away. A person or humankind refers to those who are wise or who are acknowledge and believe. These skins describe the Jews.
It's
Skins.
sins.
Uh,
Sins, maybe.
Scenes.
without C, yeah, okay.
Yeah, without like key. Scene.
Scenes.
It's like
Scenes.
episode story.
These scenes describe the Jews and at the time of the Lord coming, as I said, and for the same reasons as then. Their cravings, especially their greed, continued to chain them to a condition of desolation. The emptiness is so complete that even if they hear thousand times about the Lord, about the objects and practices among them that represent the church, and how this symbolize the Lord in every detail, they still acknowledge and believe none of it. This then
So, ladies and gentlemen,
is the reason that the people who brought on the floods were thrown out of the Garden of Eden and suffered devastation to the point where they were unable to acknowledge anything true. All this evidence indicates that such is the meaning of these words to keep people from putting out their hand and taking from the tree of lives as well, and eating and living forever. Taking from the tree of lives and eating is learning all about love and faith to the point of acknowledging it. The plural lives is love and faith. Eating here is before symbolizes knowing, and living forever is not living in the body forever, but living on after death in eternal damnation. People who are dead are so called not because they will die after the life of the body, but because they will live a life of death. Since death is damnation and hell, living has a similar meaning in Ezekiel. Ezekiel.
Ezekiel like this. Ezekiel.
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 Mm-hmm. You hunt the souls that belong to my people and the souls that are yours. You keep life and you profaned me among my people to kill souls that must not die and to keep souls alive that must not live. Not live. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think because if it is last maybe verse, no, in this chapter, no, it's a lot. I think this reading is over because my brain is tired.
Okay.
Tired.
Goodbye.
And I
You know
have to
what?
go. Yeah. See you. Goodbye.
Okay, bye bye.
See you next tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. See you.
Wow, it's amazing.
Hey.
Yeah, I love this monkey.
Who?
The monkey.
This is not a monkey. This is chimpanzee.
Yeah. Why these people are not talking? Do you know why?
Why?
No, I'm asking you why.
I don't know. But I know why chimpanzee doesn't talk.
Oh
Because
my god, you're still eating. Come on.
I'm not eating. What do you mean I'm not eating?
But I can hear something.
No,
Something is
I'm
going
just
on.
no, I'm not eating. I'm just a bit
Okay.
sleeping.
That's what you do all the time. Just sleep, eat, and repeat the cycle.
Yeah, I work. Jesus.
You work where? No. I think you got fired.
What? No, I'm not fired. Of course not. Why would I? They cannot fire. How can I say it that way? I mean, I cannot be fired.
Why? You owner the restaurant?
No, but I cannot be fired. They
Give me a
cannot.
reason.
They can't. They cannot fire me without reason. You know, I'm a really good worker. There's no reason.
I
They
don't
can't.
know.
They can't.
Maybe they can.
They can't.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So what else?
What else? I don't know. Just the people left. So they said that let's quit reading book. They left.
He left? Really?
They left, and I'm here, and I was in another server, and I just came here about 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
And
I
they
got
were
it.
still reading.
Did you understand anything from that book?
No.
Then why are you
No.
reading this book?
It's because it doesn't matter. Just a reading, so
Yeah,
it doesn't
just
matter
read
what
it.
the content is. Was it a Bible?
Yeah, it was Bible.
I don't know. I don't know.
Hello, CJ.
What's up?
Hello, hello. Are you the brother of Rock? Do you know
Rock?
Rock? Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
Hey, friend, you here?
What the fuck is playing in the background?
No, we're not playing anything.
Friend?
Sandwich?
Yeah.
You learn what the attack helicopter is?
Hey, stop it.
You don't respect attack helicopters?
You don't respect me.
You don't respect attack helicopters? I respect you, but you don't respect attack helicopters.
You don't respect me.
I respect you, Sandwich.
Stop it.